Anna stood in the rain, her hands shaking as she held her phone. The screen was black, out of battery. She looked around the empty street. The city felt cold and strange, so different from the small town she had left behind. She had come here for one reason, to find her father. Anna's mother never talked about him. He left before you were born, she always said. Whenever Anna asked questions, her mother would change the subject. But last week, while cleaning the attic, Anna found an old photo hidden in a dusty box. A man with the same dark eyes as hers stood in front of a small bookstore. On the back of the photo, there was an address. Her heart had pounded when she saw it. Was this her father? Was he still there? She didn't think twice. She packed a small bag and bought a ticket to the city. Now she was here. But the bookstore was gone. Only a closed cafe stood in its place. The sign above the door was broken, and the windows were covered with dust. She felt a deep sadness in her chest. Anna sighed and sat down on a bench near the building. Was this a mistake? Had she come all this way for nothing? She had so many questions, but no answers. Then a voice came from behind her. Are you looking for something? She turned around quickly. An old man stood there, looking at her with curious eyes. He wore a brown coat and had a kind face. Anna hesitated, then showed him the photo. Do you know this place? She asked. The man studied the picture for a moment. His eyes softened and a small smile appeared on his lips. Yes, I knew the man who worked there. He was a good person. Anna's hands trembled. Do you know where he is now? She asked, almost afraid of the answer. The old man looked at her carefully. Why do you want to know? Anna swallowed hard. I think he's my father. The man's eyes widened in surprise. He was silent for a few seconds, then nodded. Come with me, he said. Anna followed him down the street, her heart beating fast. She didn't know what she would find, but she knew she was closer to the truth than ever before. Anna followed the old man down a narrow street. The rain had stopped, but the cold wind still made her shiver. She had so many questions, but she was too afraid to ask. What if her father didn't want to see her? What if he had a new life, a new family? The old man finally stopped in front of a small house. The paint on the door was peeling, and the windows were dark. He knocked twice, then stepped back. A few moments passed before the door opened. A tall man with gray hair stood there. His eyes were tired, his face lined with age. He looked at the old man first, then at Anna. His expression changed, confusion, surprise, then something else. Who is this? He asked, his voice deep and cautious. The old man smiled. Someone who's been looking for you. Anna took a deep breath. Her hands were shaking. Are you Michael Carter? She asked. The man's face went pale. He took a step back, gripping the doorframe. Yes, he said slowly. Who are you? Anna felt her heart pounding. I'm Anna Lewis. My mother is Sarah Lewis. For a moment there was silence. The name seemed to hit him like a wave. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. His hands clenched into fists. Sarah, he whispered. His voice was full of emotion. Pain, regret, something Anna couldn't quite understand. Anna took a shaky step forward. I think you're my father, she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. Michael Carter stared at her, his dark eyes searching her face. Then, something in him broke. He ran a hand through his hair and let out a deep breath. Come inside, he said. Anna stepped in. The house was small and simple. Bookshelves lined the walls, and a soft chair sat near the window. It smelled like coffee and old paper. She saw a picture frame on the table. It was an old photo of a woman, her mother. You look like her, Michael said, noticing where she was looking. Anna swallowed hard. She never talked about you, she admitted. I found your picture in a box. I needed to know. Michael nodded slowly. He sat down and gestured for her to do the same. I left before you were born, he said. I wasn't a good man back then. I made mistakes, but leaving your mother was the biggest mistake of my life. Anna felt a lump in her throat. Then why didn't you come back? Michael sighed. I tried, he said. I wrote letters, but I never got a reply. I thought she wanted me to stay away. Anna's hands tightened into fists. Had her mother hidden the letters? Had she been afraid? Angry? She would never know. Michael leaned forward. I don't expect you to forgive me, he said. I don't even expect you to stay. But I want to know you, Anna, if you'll let me. Tears burned in Anna's eyes. She had spent her whole life wondering about this man. Now he was right in front of her. She didn't know what the future would bring, but as she looked into her father's eyes, she knew one thing. She was not lost anymore. She had found what she was looking for. Maybe this was just the beginning.